Hi, everyone. Today we're doing a legislative update with, once again, we have our state rep here, Andrea Schroeder. Hi. And she's brought some of her staff here. We have Joe and Gabby. So first of all, thanks everyone for coming by and kind of giving us an update. First things first, though, Joe and Gabby, can you kind of tell us what you do and what kind of your role is?
Well, I am the Policy Services Director and do a lot of media outreach. So if you ever have any issues with a bill or some legislation, or you have any ideas, you can call me. And then Joe.
Well, I'm mostly constituent relations. I'm the constituent relations manager, so as the name suggests. I help people with any issues that they have that I can assist them with on behalf of the representative, and I also help answer any queries or questions that people have, and I also help run her calendar, so making sure she gets to where she needs to be.
So Gabby, when you say you do like a lot of the media stuff, would that be like any kind of social media stuff, any kind of press releases, all that kind of material comes from you?
Mostly, I'll start drafting it and work with Rep. Schroeder on what she wants to get out there to the public, and then send it out once it's been approved.
Okay. And then Joe, you kind of handle the, like you said, the constituents, so like all of her coworkers and things like that, anyone that's trying to reach out to her, connect with her and things like that. And then if community members wanted to reach out, do they deal with generally you, or does it kind of go either way depending on the circumstance?
Well, it's generally me. I'll normally respond to constituents, but Gabby gets involved as well, and so does, of course, the boss.
Mostly what they do is like, be here at this time, do this thing, don't forget to eat, you know, it's time for lunch, here's your hat, here's your purse, get going, which is good.
Sure.
I was like, wait, where am I going? Okay, what's the room number? So they make sure that I'm where I need to be when I need to be there, and I would be lost without them. So it's been a great couple of months getting the office up and running, and we've got a good team, and so it's been fun, and we've got a good team going, and we're getting into a routine, so it's nice.
Good. Is there any, I don't know, maybe like day-to-day things you think the average person might not realize that you guys are up to that would kind of surprise them, or is it pretty kind of simple calendar kind of stuff, more or less?
Every day is a new day. Running here, running there. Last minute updates that we need to get out. It really comes in pretty
Hustling.
fast.
Sometimes I'll look at Gabby and say, tell me again, or send me the information on that bill. I need to run through it again so that I know what I'm talking about when I'm meeting with somebody. And Joe gets lots of general inquiries. It can be anything from offering an opinion to, I don't know if you've had any fun or unusual things that people in the district have asked for you.
They're all fun. They're all unique, and you never know how many you're going to get in a day. It could be one, it could be 15, 20, 30. You never know. So
we just had a whole bunch, I sense a conspiracy, a whole bunch of Clarkston High School students who contacted about snow days.
Okay.
And the snow day bills that we had, and it seems like they were all for them.
I think generally, I was watching some video where someone was talking about, I think they were like an actor or a comedian or something. They were talking about how they have good work ethic, but they said, but at the end of the day, if someone tells you get a free day off, no one's upset about, oh, I get to go home early today.
Right.
No one's upset about that.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm looking at all these snow day phone calls, and it was like 60 of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know their parents.
Was it just about like the criteria for a snow day, or?
Well, a lot of the schools are over, including our
Right.
districts, are all over their snow day limit. So there are a couple of bills on what are we going to do about the snow days, and really how far can we extend the calendar and that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So a bunch
Not
of,
wanting to make up those days at the beginning of summer.
I think it would be interesting to reach out to all of their parents and see how their parents feel about the snow days as well. We should probably follow up on that, Joe.
we'll get on that.
I think every time there's a snow day, there's half the people that are happy and half the people that are
Right.
upset. And
Right.
I don't think you ever win when you call a snow day. You're always
Yes.
going to upset some people.
But those are the kind of things you never know, and that's,
Yeah.
you know, Joe's phone rings, you know, that kind of thing. So he takes care of those things too.
Sure. Well, going back to some of the updates you wanted to tell us about, the first thing you wanted to talk about was kind of March's Reading Month. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so every year we have March's Reading Month, and it's really a focus on reading in all of the schools, the different schools. So working with Joe on my schedule, we have set up, so I'm going to go in and be a guest reader at several of the different elementary schools here in Clarkston and Waterford, a couple of the private schools. And you go in and you get to read in front of the classes, which is fun for me because I used to be a teacher.
Okay.
And I always loved reading to the kids. In fact, this morning, I actually got to spend some time with some kids at Bailey Lake and reading stories. And it's fun way to get active and engaged with the kids. So that's
Do you have any
March is really fun.
go-to books for the elementary schools?
Yeah, some of the schools will say, these are the books that we want you to read, but I carry Hooray for Diffin-Doofer Day, which
Okay.
is
I'm not familiar with that book.
it's a fun book. It's written in the style of Dr. Seuss.
Oh, okay.
And it's about a school, and what's Diffin-Doofer is the name of the school. And it's just a lot of fun because it gets the kids engaged in it. Like today I had a 4th grade class, and first I thought, this book might be a little young for them, but I didn't tell them that the illustrations in this book include a lot of the classic Seuss characters. They're kind of hidden in the things. And I was probably on the 3rd page before one of the kids said, "Hey, there's the Cat in the Hat is in that thing." And so then they started looking at the illustrations and paying attention to the story more, and it was kind of fun. So anyway, hooray for Diffin-Doofer Day.
So this is something that spans multiple days, just kind of sprinkled throughout the month of March? Then
Yeah,
you do
different
the
days,
different
different
elementary
hours,
schools?
and I'll just go into a school. They'll be ready for me. I'll sit down, I'll read the story, and engage with the kids. Or they'll ask me different questions. Sometimes they'll ask about what I do in my job.
I was going to say, do the elementary school kids ever ask kind of what you do or any political questions, or is it generally pretty simple?
It's not so much political questions, but sometimes it's about what you do. To this morning, one of the kids said, "Have you had any interesting bills come by lately?" And I was like,
That's a pretty
You're in 4th
good
grade.
question for an elementary school kid.
"Yeah, I thought so too." And I said, "Hooray for you!" So
Sure.
it was fun.
Good. We talked about this last time a little bit, but you have some Laura and FOIA stuff that you're kind of working on and that you're kind of very concerned with. So tell us kind of an update on how some of that's progressing.
Right, so we were able to talk about it last time. FOIA is Freedom of Information Act. And I have a bill introducing a new entity called LORA, the Legislative Open Records Act. And it's part of a 10-bill package, and the whole idea is transparency in government. And why it's really relevant is this week is Sunshine Week. So tomorrow I'll be on the floor introducing a resolution in the House to recognize Sunshine Week, which has been going on for about 10, 15 years now. And it's really a national initiative to create awareness of the importance of open government, particularly in a democratic republic like we have, and making sure that government is transparent. So the bills we talked about last time is applying the principles of FOIA to the legislature and to the governor's office so that people can know what is going on in their government. And last week, I think it was last week, they had their first hearings for the 10-bill package, and tomorrow, is it government
Operations.
operations? See, this is what she does. She helps me finish.
Sure.
Government Operations Committee is meeting, and maybe they'll move it out of committee tomorrow. We're hoping they'll move it out of committee.
How did the term Sunshine Week kind of come into play? Where's that term from?
Well, it's all about shining light, and democracy
okay.
dies in darkness, and that. So it's all
Gotcha.
about Sunshine Week. And actually, on then Saturday, the end of Sunshine Week is National Freedom of Information Day, March 16th. So put on your Freedom of Information.
It goes that
hat.
day, and then I think St. Patty's
Yes,
Day is the
yes.
next day?
Some people
Interesting
celebrate
combo.
St. Patrick's Day, but really it's Freedom of Information.
Right, of course. That's where all the green festivities start
Right,
from.
yeah,
Of course,
shamrocks.
of course.
It's very thematic.
And just to follow up on Laura, if a constituent calls the office and says, "Hey, I'm having an issue with DHHS, the Department of Health and Human Services," their inquiry is still kept private. But what is allowed open to the public is when our office then calls DHHS and says, "Hey, we have a constituent, they're having this issue, please, can you help?" So that's the part where constituents can call and see, we are working for them, we are serving them.
Right, and that's why I've introduced the LORA, the Legislative Open Records Act, instead of applying FOIA directly, because there are constitutional privacy laws and constitutional issues with applying FOIA directly. So we tried to create LORA that has all of the meat of FOIA without having to worry about people's privacy, because the last thing we want to do is create any barriers to people contacting me. I mean, that's our job, is to help people in the district. So we want to make sure people feel comfortable knowing that their information is kept private. So,
Could you maybe kind of touch upon, so like, let's say, we'll use me as an example. Let's say I wanted to make an inquiry on something. Like maybe I wanted to see, I don't know, some document or some email. What would I need, what would be the steps I'd have to go through to see that document or get a hold of that information?
well, it'll depend. You know, if this package goes through,
Yeah, like
a
what's
lot of
the
it,
before and potential after? Like what would be the
right.
differences?
Well, there is a lot of information that we would just give you.
Sure.
Especially if we know it's open under the Laura Act. Really, so it wouldn't necessarily be like my
Right.
office. If you wanted one thing from my office, you know, we would probably go ahead and give you that single one-off information. A lot of it is when you have news organizations or someone that says, we want to see the records for all of the representatives who have this. Well, then you're going to have paperwork, and there will be
Right.
charges for, you know, producing the documents
Okay.
and that kind of thing. But so it's going to depend on what the request is.
Sure.
It's going to depend, you know, the scope of the request, but the information should be available. So we'll see how it goes once we get the bills out there
Sure.
and get to where we get to vote on everything.
Sure. Well, I think those are the main updates you guys want to talk about. Is there anything else you guys want to kind of mention or let our audience know before as we kind of wrap up for today?
What about, we have office hours
Yeah.
next
We do.
Monday, the 18th, from 3 to 4 p.m. at the Coffee Bucket in Waterford, where, you know, the Coffee Bucket is a relatively new coffee shop that's run by Greg and the team that does DRAW, Disaster Relief at
sure,
Work.
sure.
So they have a coffee shop now, and they've welcomed us there, so we're excited to be there. And you guys will be there, right?
Yes, we'll be
You
there.
guys can come meet us.
It's always nice to have them in district, because then people get to know them too, and they're not always in the office, you know, up in Lansing and everything. So we'll be there from 3 to 4 p.m. next Monday.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for stopping by, and we'll see you guys next time.